Everyone is having a fantastic day today. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia. Um, yeah, I know I was supposed to post Friday. Yeah, that didn't wind up happening. Something happened and I couldn't post. But hopefully, I know last video I said I was going to get on it. Back to my routine. Yeah, that didn't happen. I missed a day. But hopefully I can stick to it this time. I really hope so. Hopefully nothing throws me off but if it does, if it does, if it does, it does. I'll just be right back. This is not a if I don't make it that I'm done with it for the rest of my life. But something that I wanted to talk about today that I find very interesting. I just find this interesting overall that everything that you experience in childhood, the things that you experience in childhood can be wind up becoming adult hurdles. And it's just fascinating to me that everybody has something in that happened to them in their childhood, whether it's good or bad, that made them who they are today. And something that I realized is there's a difference in the way a lot of people were raised that I have noticed, but I never really had done the in-depth research and the just coming to understand why this had happened. But there's a lot of people that I have realized that a lot of people were raised. There's some people that are raised with love, and then there's some people that are raised to survive. There's some people out there that were raised with love, whether that is they had a lot of trust and a lot of abundance. They operated from a place of trust. They believed the world was safe. They believed people mean well. Am I saying is that always good? No, because there's people out there who do not mean well. The world is not safe. That's I can go. I'm going to that later, but there's a lot of people out there who, when they were raised with love, they had a very strong emotional depth. They understood empathy. They understood sympathy, pity for people, compassion, patience. Love was seen almost like it's a way of life, not a transaction, something that you can get out of someone, meaning that if I show you this, I'm going to get something from you. Also, being raised with love, they had vulnerability wasn't seen as a bad thing. They had a lot of physical, mental, emotional affection that was being displayed. Also, because of that, there was a very in depth, loving, nurturing relationships, building safe connections with people. And it just made me think the opposite of that. There's also people out there that were raised on survival. Almost like there's a fear, there's a scarcity, this operating from a place of fear, being very wary of others, only trusting themselves. But in that, actually, both of them actually work really well together. But almost like there's going back into what I'm saying, tending to be very hyper independent, tending to always anticipate danger, to always anticipate being abandoned, being a very hard, protecting yourself, almost like there's a sense of hardness that vulnerability is dangerous, vulnerability is a weakness, using a lot of your emotions as an armor to mask who you are on the inside and to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself, your safety, or you have to survive the self preservation above everything else. But sometimes I feel like, you can tell what I think is there needs to be a healthy balance between the two, which I was going to eventually get into, but it's hitting me now. There needs to be a healthy balance between not only being raised with love, but also being raised with survival. The world is not a safe place. Not everybody means well. And when you constantly come from a space that you are raised with love, you may not be exposed to the reality of the world and the things you're going to have to survive in the end. But then when you're raised with survival and everybody's after you and I got to protect myself, then you feel closed and you feel as though when people do show you that love, you feel as though they're trying to get something out of you. You're fearful of being abandoned, fearful of just a lot of things that people are going to throw at you because you're scared of people's reaction, very weary of people. There are some good people out there who actually mean well, but there's also some people that pretend to be good who don't mean well. I feel like there needs to be a healthy balance between the two. But what I'm trying to say is, um, you can tell who was raised strictly on love and who was raised strictly on survival. A lot of people, unfortunately, because they are so strictly raised on surviving the world, they might have never really ever experienced love, whether it's romantically or platonically. I feel like always growing up in this survival mode where you never get your love is never expressed to you, it almost trains you mentally and emotionally and trains your nervous system that you have threats all around you. Which I'm gonna say is it's the world. Yeah, you have a lot of threats around you, but not every single thing is a threat. But when you constantly grow up in this survival mode, everything is a threat and you're never seeking connection. Love shows up as control. You start withdrawing, you start being very hyper independent, you don't want nobody's help, you start pushing people away when things get good, pushing things away when, like I said, when things get good. And that's why I say there needs to be like a healthy balance in between the two. When you're always growing up in survival mode, you feel as though you may not be deserving of love. When you're always growing up in a mode of being raised by love all the time, you're not very equipped for the world. The things that the world is going to throw at you. Like I said, and not everybody who walks up in your face is good. Not everybody who seems good in your face or smiling at you has good intentions. But I don't know. It's very sad that something I want to talk about is when you're constantly growing up in this survival mode. You know, you have never experienced love. Love, like I said, is seen as control, is seen as an attack, is seen as you have to withdraw, you have to become hyper dependent, you have to push this away. And it's very sad because I'm sure there's people out there who really do want to love those people who grew up in survival mode, but they see love as an attack, as dangerous, as it's going to threaten everything that I have worked for, this protection, this hypervigilance. And, unfortunately, those kinds of people might wind up hurting you because they are so used to being in this survival mode. They're not used to love. And then when you show it to them, they don't know how to take it. And then they might wind up fumbling you. I just feel like it's very important. That's why I say this. Very important to understand. Thank you, the lights. It's very important to understand the differences in people's background because it's just going to help you understand where people are coming from, understand how people were raised, and help you form strong relationships with people more effectively. And like I said, it's too black and white when you say, oh, well, some people were raised with love and they're this way, and then some people were raised with survival, trying to survive the world, they were raised this way. It's very nuanced, it's very black and white. And I'm going to get into that. Like I said, it depends on how you were raised and how you were brought up, because the very same people that could be raised with love, they can become very selfish, mean spirited people. But then yet the people who are raised with survival, or raised to survive the world, may be the nicest people that you ever meet. And or people raised with the survival mode are appreciate every little thing that you do for them and you help them without even asking. And it just makes me think that not everyone who is quote unquote cold or guarded or doesn't want to express themselves is unkind. Maybe something in their life made them that way from childhood. They grew up and not willing to express their feelings, or vulnerability is seen as a weakness, so they never expressed how they feel. That doesn't mean just because they're cold and guarded doesn't mean that they're not kind. Not everybody one who smiles in your face and gives you gifts and acts so kindly and displays love and is friendly has your best interest at heart. You have to understand and have this discernment to understand the distinction between the two. And almost, like I said, it's just too nuanced, this black or white thing, because it really depends on the person. Because some people that are raised with love, not the best people. Some people that were raised to survive the world, most wonderful people that you will ever meet in your life. It's just the challenge is you recognizing the difference within people. because there is no one set group of people that can fit into this specific category because everybody's different. One person may not have the same outcome as the next person. And what I want to say is that, what was I going to say? Um, some people that have been surviving their whole entire life, like I said, they're not accustomed to love. They don't understand love because maybe it was never shown to them. And some people just honestly do not want to believe that people are actually being kind, people are actually being loving, people are actually being caring because maybe they never experienced it. Maybe they feel as though it's a subtle attack. We're all struggling with something that makes us human. We're all struggling with something that we're all struggling with something, and we all have some sort of guard up. And some people out there, no matter how good you treat them, you know, they will never treat you right. Or there's some people out there, the better that you treat them, the worse they treat you. And trying to find those ways to push or bring out that negative side out of you. Or in Like I said, it goes back to childhood. Maybe something happened to them where they feel as though everybody's after them. Everybody can't possibly be displaying love and kindness towards me. They must be doing this for some malicious, evil reason. So they make you feel as though maybe project that feeling onto you, for you to display that side, so they can give them confirmation to what they're thinking on the inside. And it's just very sad because you may grow up thinking that you grow up thinking that when someone's being kind to you, that's a problem, or even people being you grow up maybe even thinking that ill treatment is normal too. I don't know. It's just very interesting that people like that, they will do, anything to you, not necessarily always out of malice. Maybe even, like I said, out of protection from something they experienced in their childhood because the world taught them, or maybe people around them taught them that they have to protect themselves at all costs, and showing vulnerability and being weak and showing that loving, caring side of me gets me hurt. And so they put up these guards, or they want to hurt you. This is the thing, hurt people hurt people. Sometimes they want to hurt you first so that you don't hurt them, which is very, honestly, is very sad. But also, a person that might have been raised with love, they see the world out of abundance, they see the connection, positivity, the trust. Someone who grew up thinking they had to survive and get through everything and everything was after them. Self-preservation, very cautious of everything. Everything is a threat to who they are. And when you have love, raised with love in your life, maybe you approach relationships with this openness. You always assume that everybody has the best interest in you, or you have the best interest in everybody else, and you feel secure, and you feel loving and caring and kind, and want to receive affection and willing to receive, display affection as well. But also, there's people out there who that might not have been ever shown to them, so they rely on themselves more. Become very hyper independent. Trust is not a thing that they, well, viewing vulnerability as a risk too. But I don't know. I feel like some people can be raised with love, or once again, I'm going to state, I think it needs to be a healthy balance, okay? Both perspectives, both the way that people can be raised. I think it's, too much of anything is not a good thing. I think there needs to be a healthy balance. Each has its unique strengths, each has its unique weaknesses and its struggles. I think you just have to bridge a gap and have this balance between not only being understanding love and being willing to receive it, but also you have to being raised on love, and then being also raised to survive the world as well. Some people, I'm losing my thought. Some people, and like I said, it's too black and white because not everybody fits the box of, oh, I was raised with love and it made me the best person I could possibly be. And oh, I was raised to survive this world and everything is a threat and vulnerability is a risk. So now I see everything as that. it's very nuanced. It's very black or white. And I feel like you have to understand not everybody fits those two categories, what I have come to realize. Some people raised with love, they become very arrogant. They become very selfish. They become very self centered, become not willing to do anything for anybody else, not displaying affection whatsoever. And then there's people who were raised to survive this world who are the most loving, sacrificing, heartfelt people that you'll ever meet. And it's just, maybe they treat love as it's the most precious thing that they have ever experienced in the world. People that are just who are raised to just survive. And there's people out there who claim that, oh, this is who I am who I am, and I'm not going to change. I ain't going to be to try to be better about anything. But I don't know, it just makes me think about humans overall. When I think about humans, there is no real black or white. There's like this gray area of all different colors, well, in that area. Some people choose love and to be kind because they have never experienced love and kindness themselves. Just because they have, when the way they were raised, vulnerability was a risk. I can't trust people. Everything is a danger. Everything is a threat. They may turn out to be the kindest people that you have ever met on this earth. People that, because they were raised to survive, they displaying kindness to everybody else so that nobody else will ever have to feel what they went through. There's some people out there who have had love their whole entire lives, or just, I don't know, but and yet choose to be very selfish, mean people and use their upbringing as an excuse for their actions. I don't know. It's just, what was I going to say? I don't know. It's just very interesting the way that I find that some people can be raised. And like I said, too much of anything is not going to be beneficial for you. I think what it is, you need to have a healthy balance of not only being raised to accept love and to give love, but also being raised to realize that the world is a scary place out there. Not everybody has your best interest at heart. Yes, you should be wary of people. Yes, you should trust yourself. Yes, should have somewhat of this independence. Yes, you should protect yourself, but not to the point where it becomes detrimental to you. You also want to have a little bit of some trust, some love, some um, empathy, some compassion, some patience, vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a risk, it's an asset. Being willing to receive affection and display affection, being willing to have safe connections with people, being willing to have nurturing relationships with people, have all those things, but also realize that the world is not safe. It's not safe. People don't always mean well. Everyone that smiles in your face is not going to be kind to you. Some people that you think are cold and guarded, something made them that way. Maybe they are the kindest, most loving people that you will ever meet in your life if you get to know them. But I just find it very interesting how, you know, when you have a lot of love in your life, you can turn out to be this way. Or if you are raised that you have to survive this world and be hyper independent and don't trust nobody and protect yourself, you can turn out to be this way. But and yet there are people out there that even that is too black and white. Not everybody's going to fit in one box, and some people fit in the other box because you can be raised this one way and then you can turn out a whole complete 180. I just find it very interesting that we as humans, we are not, and I actually really appreciate it. We as humans, we're not black and white. There's so many different shades and different colors that can come out of the way people are raised in their upbringing, and makes people the way that they are. But this is just me rambling. Yeah, sorry for getting what I was saying, but I hope everyone has a fantastic day today. It's a beautiful day. You woke up today, so it's always a good day. But I will see you guys next time.